Devin. Devin is back over here. Well, not back over here, but we're over here now.
Oh yeah.
This is my place. This is my building.
This is
not really.
Crib.
My crib. Whatever. This is my street. I don't get garage parking, so this is my good old daily driver for a good amount of time. It's a '93 C1500. Pretty good truck. Doesn't run. It's a pretty good truck though. We're not working on this today though. Here's what we are working on. 1965 C10 Chevrolet. It is now the daily driver. My daily driver. Since my old daily driver decided to become the project car because it wanted attention. So we're over here. Now the reason we're working on this thing now, there's a lovely lifter tick sound coming from this small block Chevy in here. Motorcyclist. She came stock with the 283 small block Chevy. There is a ticking sound coming from it now. My father came over, had a look at her, since he's more experienced than I am. He said he thinks it's the fuel pump. The fuel pump's ticking. Because he got one of them fancy stethoscope things. Well, no, I bought it. And then he said, oh, I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. Checks out. It works. So I bought a stethoscope. And I checked it out. It sounds like the ticking's coming from the fuel pump. So what we're going to do basically is we're going to tear the fuel pump off. Hope that that's the issue and the ticking stops while it's not in the car. And then if it doesn't stop, I either got a flat cam or... well, a lifter stuck, so let's dive into it. Let's see what we can't get going on here. What do you think?
I think we'll try. We'll try our best.
I think a try is the best we can do at this point.
What are we gonna do here, Dakota?
We already went over that. We're gonna try and do the fuel pump.
They don't know that.
Yes, they do. Oh wait, maybe they don't. So where's the fuel pump, Devin?
Let me show you. Right down in here. That little guy right there. It supplies all your fuel.
Sad little guy.
And you bought the cheapest one possible.
The cheapest one?
Oh no, he didn't tell me that. The most expensive one he could find.
Yeah, $24 from O'Reilly's. Yeah. Oh, I love small blocks, dude. What do you think? Let's start this thing up. See if the ears on the other side of that camera can't pick up this ticking. And then basically go from there. Then we'll start tearing into this thing. What do you think?
I think that sounds like an excellent plan, Dakota.
I think this is going to go very south very quick.
It could, yes.
Okay, so what are your thoughts? Do you think that we're going to end up taking that fuel pump off and it's not going to be the issue? What do you think?
50-50 chance. It is a Chevy.
Okay, Ford Mustang. I don't want to hear that. Whatever. I'll hop in. I'll get us some fuel.
Perfect. Tick, 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 tick.
Oh yeah, you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
So when wow, I just had a stroke. Okay. When we were originally looking at this, it was a trip to Walmart kind of night. That's all that happened. But we were originally thinking that something was just hitting the fan. We got home, found out that wasn't the issue, and my stress levels rise very quickly. Because this was my daily driver, and that thing in the background was not doing so well at that point. Diesels, I love them.
This is a flat roll of duct tape, folks.
What's wrong with it? There can't be anything wrong with it. It still does duct tape things. On good days.
On good days.
On good days. She's... CBH, am I right?
Freaking CBH.
Nothing against them, nothing against them. There's just constant traffic going through the neighborhood. Constant, dude.
Constant.
Okay.
What are we doing first?
Well, I'll run you through the first issue here. I grabbed metric, and this vehicle was built in '65, so you know what that means? These are American bolts.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go back over
American
here.
steel.
American steel. That's the way to look at it.
American made.
Probably bigger than that one. Probably smaller than that one. Let's grab an extension.
There's every size socket ever.
That's very true. Every size socket that you want rounded off. Yep, that one's too big. Right off the bat. Put things on your battery terminals, guys. It works out great in the end. Ooh. Uh-oh.
What's uh-oh?
That's a size too small. Well, we're in the ballpark, 3/8. Okay, we need to step up. One of the best things ever made.
One of.
What do you mean, one of? You got something to say?
Mustangs exist too, you know.
Oh, you're right. 65 and up. Those are pretty good years, aren't they? Oh, man. Oh, no. If you ask me, they look like the secretary's car. Okay, listen. I don't need anybody harping on me about my organizational skills here.
Yeah, my toolbox looks clean.
Okay, Mr. DeWalt Toolbox.
Yeah.
These are hobo freight little doohickey the guys here.
Notice how they're all missing.
Here. Give me a smaller guy. There. You see? See how well these stay on here? Okay, so let me find one that's been used. Let's go with this guy. See these ones? Well, I've never had to take these ones out. Okay. You get what I'm saying now. Don't look down there. Eyes are up here.
Is that the 10 mil?
No, that's red. That's American. She's a 11/30 seconds. I know. I don't think I've ever had to use that in my life. We're gonna get back to you guys when we get a right size socket. Or maybe just this doesn't go well and we'll still get back to you.
Either way, we'll get back to you.
Either way.
You kept my stud?
It's not like you were gonna be using it anytime soon. Oh, for Pete's sake, where is it? Okay, we're going for the other toolbox.
I'm gonna show off your Cheyenne here for a little bit.
For it.
This thing is so retro.
Show off
I
that
love
lovely
it.
pickup that hasn't ran. I would sell this thing in a heartbeat before I ever sold the white one. Heartbeat, this thing would be gone. I'll be honest, if it was between this or this, I would keep this.
Interesting, interesting. All these things we're learning about you.
This guy showed up in my school parking lot one day and said, "Hey, look at this Mustang I have." And then just left and I didn't see him. I had no idea where he went. What happened to my... Oh. So it was sitting right in front of me. Which is fine. What? I have a snap-on extension.
It's crazy. You have a real tool.
I don't know where I got it from.
Let's look at this fuel pump here, Dakota.
You mean the one that's probably not ever going to come out of this vehicle because I can't get an extension short enough to get it in here?
You need to go to Hobo Freight again.
Let's make the least amount of hobo freight trips as possible this one, okay? Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Glad, because I'd like that too.
I have this crazy idea where we have one of these fixing sessions for one of our vehicles and we don't make a parts run. You know how crazy that would be?
That would be insane.
If we just had the parts and just fixed it. Impossible.
Hey, so now that you're
Moving
here, I should probably tell you I don't have a spare fuel pump.
Alright, we're gonna get back to you guys after he gets this thing off.
Maybe after I break these bolts loose.
That's more likely, yeah.
Hey, it's loose!
Oh, is it snapped in half?
Yes.
You heard it. You heard it, folks. How are we looking here, bud?
Well, fuel pump's off. You can look at it. It's not.
Is it now?
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Well, yeah. I know you didn't notice. No, it's
right
laying there. We're not going to do anything special with it. We tapped it just for a second to make sure that rod didn't interfere with cam or anything if we were to start this for a second. All we're going to do is start it now and see if that stops clicking or keeps clicking or what happens, and see how many quarts of oil we lose out that hole on the side of the engine. And see if we can't get this to work with how much fuel is left in the float bowl, which is very unlikely. So let's go start it.
Let's start it, huh?
Clear?
Clear.
Clear. Going. You want to tell me what you notice?
I hear clicking, Dakota.
I do. I hear tapping as well.
What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are that... Well, here, let's look at the bright side. The fuel pump's good. The fuel pump's probably really good. What that tells me is that he's about to die. It doesn't have no gas. It's in the very front of the motor, so... Number one cam lobe. Going flat, it's my guess. That or it really is a lifter that's stuck, which would even suck as well. But what that tells me is I can keep driving this until I gotta tear it apart and regret that. But yeah, that's what I get to do, so. We'll throw the fuel pump back on there and see if we can't get away with what we have going on. So, let's do that.
You don't want to tear open the engine tonight?
I'll have the parts to tear open the engine tonight. Plus, then the radiator would have to come out, and the whole front shroud and everything would have to come off. That way we can pull the cam out, put the new cam in, then we have to break in the new cam. We can't get that done before dinner. No, I just foresee that taking a weekend. That's it. Just a weekend, you know?
What's it looking like down here, Dakota?
Well, here's the trick with these things. I've got the diamond plate looking fuel pump, but most small block Chevys out there have this one that's kind of built like a house. It's flat on three sides and then it angles up to the top. But no matter what, you're going to be fighting a push rod with the mechanical fuel pumps. And that push rod goes up onto your first cam lobe, and that's how it pumps your fuel with the fuel pump. So that's what I just sat here fighting for about 45.5 minutes, is that push rod. The easiest way that I've learned to throw that back in there is you take yourself a pair of needle nose pliers and you grab that push rod in there and you slide those pliers as far as up it'll go before you hit your block. And then on the bottom of your fuel pump, you've got that little lever kind of thing there. You just kind of slide that in the bottom of the hole until you can tell that it drops down a lot farther than it would if you were trying to do it while the push rod was there. So after you notice that you've thrown it in and it drops down a lot further and your bolt holes will actually line up now, you can just let go of that and then start feeding your bolts in. Don't do what I did and second guess yourself and pull the fuel pump back off and then hear that push rod fall back to the bottom. So yeah, just don't second guess yourself when it comes to working on cars most of the time. If you know what you're doing, do it. If you don't know what you're doing, there's this fancy little application out there. Don't know if you heard of it. It's got like YouTube, or I mean even Google. Got no idea what they do, but apparently you can just type on those little websites and people will just tell you how to do what you're doing. So
It's crazy, man.
I know. It's basically
live in a world.
We live in a world full of, I don't know, teenagers, early 20-year-olds trying to learn how to work on small block Chevys. Which my favorite part about this is, I know I'm probably needing a cam loop now. Which is great.
How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel like I have to tear an engine apart. That's what it makes me feel.
So excited?
Well, it makes me feel that if I decide to do a cam, I can then do better rocker arms, better valves, and then maybe give this thing a little bit of a lobe sound to it. Maybe sound like a little bit of a hot rod. Or, if I could twist my dad's leg, I might be able to get a 350 small block and replace it in place of this 283. Because, you know, he's just got one of those lying around. Like, apparently fathers just have gold laying around, so. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of a fan of the numbers matching 283. Well, numbers matching as much as it is. I've changed the valve covers, the intake, and the carburetor, but I'm a fan of it. And of course, it's not numbers matching transmission, because somebody said, you know what we need to do with this thing? Let's go ahead and tow as much weight as we can with a half-ton. So let's throw an SM420 behind it and give you a granny gear and 3 regular gears. You know, in a heartbeat, I would have taken the stock 3 on the tree. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Been pretty cool.
I don't know what you're going to do with a half-ton, but by all means, give it your shot. And listen, I know it's 2-wheel drive. I'm not putting this thing laying on the frame on the ground. I like the stock ride height. I ain't giving it no crazy lift kit. I ain't dropping it all the way down on the spindles. I'm leaving it the way it is. I like it. Only thing I thought about is maybe putting some rake on the rear end, but again, it's a half-ton. It might become a hot rod. It might become a little bit of a work truck or a daily driver. So it just depends on where I want to go with it. And depends on how much people are willing to help me.
I'll help any day.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
Within reason.
Within reason. You want to pull the heads off this thing tonight?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm going to have to take about a week to recuperate my loss.
I'm sorry for your loss, man.
We're going to see if we can't find a camshaft, or maybe just go find one in a junkyard, pull out of a 350. And then the lobes will be too big, and then I'll have the valves slammed into the top of the pistons, and we'll see what we can get away with. I mean, if I can get like $20 from like the junkyard, I'm just saying, that'd be kind of cool.
Okay.
Everybody out there told me to go buy a new one and do what I need to and everything else like that, but listen, I like cheap. Cheap is fun.
Cheap, 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 cheap.
I'll start it one more time. Oh, very soon future. I don't know how soon because of this now, but this thing is going to be getting a little bit of an exhaust upgrade. Just a little bit. We're looking at manufacturing some NASCAR style boom tubes to put under the step side here. I think it'll turn out to look pretty nice. And I think it'll turn out to be a little loud too. But it all depends on what happens. Basically, we just showed you how to change out a small block fuel pump. So there you go. Ignore the tapping. I'll shut it off here in a moment.
Can't hear from over here.
Oh, well, that's good. You stay over there then. But basically, that's how you change out a small block Chevy fuel pump. 2 bolts, throw it out, gasket, go back in. I didn't change the gasket. But it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's upsetting, but it happens. All I'm thinking about now is getting a distributor for that thing. Drive my first car around some. She's peppy, I'll be honest. But I need something else to drive while this thing is kind of up a creek. So, we'll see what we can't pull off. We might get to see a video of this being worked on pretty soon.
Will we now?
There's a chance.
Okay.
And listen, $50 is not much for a distributor, but it's the cheapest one I could find, so that's what we're going to go with.
Is that what you said when you bought the fuel pump for this truck?
I do want to point out that today we found out the fuel pump is just fine. Just saying. Might have been the cheapest, $23 odd.
Might be true.
But I'll bring you in on a little secret. Keep oil in these things.
I feel like that's a given, but yes.
I may or may not have accidentally forgotten to check the oil, and that is what has led us to this situation.
Good job.
I honestly don't know how long it didn't have oil, but I do know that as soon as it started making the sound, I checked, and she was plumb dry. Well, there was a little bit on the dipstick too, but it didn't read on the stick, so I don't know if I had to buy a longer stick or if I just had to fill it up. So I went ahead and filled it up. But yes, we'll see if we can't get onto it here soon. Maybe tear this thing apart, or you'll see this one next. We don't know. Maybe his Mustang will throw a rod and you'll see that one next.
Oh!
Whichever happens, we'll get back at you guys. Devin, send him off.